Okay, so next in our list of types of reactions is neutralization reactions, and then we're going to do combustion. So neutralization reaction is going to occur when an acid and a base react together to produce a salt and water. And a salt is going to be any ionic compound, so a cation and an anion, a metal and a nonmetal. And so when you mix an acid and a base, you're going to get a salt and water. And so this neutralization, it can also fit into the double replacement category. So if you have HCl and NaOH, just like with the double replacement, these first two things are going to trade places. And so when they trade places, this hydrogen is going to bond to the hydroxide, and that's going to give us our water. And so then our salt piece is going to be the cation sodium bonding to the anion chlorine, which gives us NaCl. And you need to check to see if it is balanced. So 1, 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 1 chlorine, 1 chlorine, 1 sodium, 1 sodium, 1 oxygen, 1 oxygen. So it is balanced. If we look at another one, you have sulfuric acid and sodium hydroxide. So remember, the water is going to be made from the hydrogen and the hydroxide, and then the leftover pieces are going to come together to make the salt. Make sure you write your formula correctly. Remember, sulfate has a 2 negative charge, so you're going to get Na2SO4. And now you need to balance, and so we have 2 sodium here. So if we put a 2 here, that fixes our sodium, and now that makes us have 2 times 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, so we're going to have to put a 2 there, and that should balance everything else out. And one more. Hydrochloric acid and calcium hydroxide. So the hydrogen and the hydroxide are going to come together to give us our H2O. Calcium is going to bond to the chlorine now to give us our salt. Remember, you have to write the formula correctly. Calcium is a 2 plus charge, chlorine is a negative 1. And now we need to balance, and since we have 2 chlorine here, we're going to have to put a 2 here. That makes us have 4 hydrogen, so we have to put a 2 here, and that fixes our oxygen. Okay, so next are combustion reactions. And a combustion reaction is going to occur when an element or compound reacts with oxygen, producing energy as light and heat. And it's going to commonly involve hydrocarbons. They're going to be made of a hydrogen and a carbon. But you can also have other compounds that take place in combustion reactions. So for example, magnesium and oxygen, if you apply heat to the magnesium, you're going to get MgO. And this is not balanced, so we're going to have to put a 2 here to fix our oxygen, and then a 2 there to fix our magnesium. Complete combustion of a hydrocarbon is going to give us carbon dioxide and water. And these are going to be the reactions that we're focusing on. So your general reaction is going to be a hydrocarbon. It's usually just a hydrogen and a carbon in some ratio, plus oxygen, yielding carbon dioxide and water. And if the oxygen supply is insufficient, the reaction will be incomplete. And incomplete reactions are going to give additional products such as carbon and carbon monoxide. So we're going to avoid these types of reactions. We're only going to do complete. So if we look at an example, we have CH4 plus O2. We know our products are always going to be carbon dioxide and water. And so now we need to balance. We can use our listing if we want: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. We have 1, 4, and 2, 1, 2, and 3. So we can fix our hydrogen and even up our oxygen at the same time by putting a 2 here. Makes us have 4 and 4. And so then all we'll have to do is put a 2 in front of the O2, and that makes 4. And so that was a fairly easy one to balance. There is a formula. This only works for the ones that are hydrogen and carbon, hydrocarbons, no oxygens in that compound. And if you take the the subscript in your hydrocarbon, you can apply it to the rest. So carbon's subscript was a 1, so that means in front of the CO2 is going to be a 1. Hydrogen's was a Y, so to get your water, you're going to take that divided by 2, which works because we got a 2. And then for the oxygen, it's going to be whatever your X was, so in this case it was a 1, plus your Y, which in this case was a 4, divided by 4. And so 4 by 4 is 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2, which is what we got. So it's just a little formula you could use if you desired.